Chad and Joe are free spirits who seem perfect for each other.
Chad was definitely a hippie. He made her feel invincible.
I know she definitely loved Chad. She told everybody that would listen.
In love and off the grid, they try to start fresh.
My mom always kind of wanted to live off the land.
He took her away to this town, far from her family and friends.
But they can't escape their pasts.
Who is this?
She basically threatened to slit her throat.
You're a whore, Joe Ringer.
Things started going a little sideways.
Hey!
And one of their old demons will prove deadly.
It was either terrifying or complete bliss.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. East Hampton, Massachusetts is known for its laid-back, bohemian vibe.
It feels more like a big town than a small city.
Granola, outdoorsy, I guess more hippie orientated. It's just a, nice, quiet community.
And 40-year-old Chad Reedy fits right in.
Chad Reedy was a free spirit. He had a magnetic personality. He was into animals, music, automobiles.
Chad used to have a Volkswagen bus, and he toured with the Grateful Dead, basically. He followed them everywhere they went, all over America.
Chad's about to meet another person he'd like to follow around. Joanne Ringer, better known as Jo.
My mom met Chad. She was in her dune buggy, and she was going in to get a part for it.
It was almost like she was forced to talk to him because he was right there.
That's my baby.
She's gorgeous.
Fixed her up myself.
Huh. You must be pretty good with your hands.
That's what all the boys say.
I bet.
I'm Joe.
I'm impressed.
Oh.
But my name is Chad.
Well, Chad, why don't we go for a drive sometime?
That would be awesome.
Physically, Jo was beautiful. She was a gorgeous woman. She had a look that was all her own, very unique, but just kind of a showstopper.
Well, give me your phone, will you?
Yeah.
She was down to earth. She was super knowledgeable about an eclectic mix of different things. Automobiles and vehicles, engines in general.
Here. Now text me, and we'll have each other's numbers.
Their first encounter is brief.
He, I guess, originally thought that my mom was with Eric.
I don't know why he would have felt that way. We were just friends.
Nice to meet you, Chad.
They exchanged phone numbers, and that was pretty much it. We were driving away, all within, 3 minutes.
But Jo never hears from Chad.
She was living in this kind of little podunk town called Pelham, and she was living on a friend's property in a little tiny camper. And she was working for a local law firm as a spokesmodel at motorcycle rallies and events.
She'd hand out pamphlets at bike events, etc., so she was really well known in the bike community for that.
She was going down a pretty rough path. Me and her had gotten into a little bit of an argument, and I ended up moving in with my grandmother. It was about 11 months total that we didn't talk for. And I think that it affected her a lot and that she was just really sad and lonely. And she ended up living on her own, trying to focus on getting herself together, looking for happiness wherever she could find it.
Back in East Hampton, Chad is also looking for something more.
He worked setting up for bands and stuff at local bars.
So he decides to make a move.
Hi. Hey, Joe. Joanne. All right, I got this. I got this. Hi, Joe. This is Chad. I don't know if you remember me. I was hoping we could go for that ride. I'll talk to you later.
So on their first date, Chad brought her a bunch of roses, and nobody had really ever done that for her on a first date before.
That first date leads to many more.
Chad and Joe shared a love of the outdoors.
They did go on hikes and they went venturing.
There seemed to be something really kind of quaint and really sweet in a way about the way things started. She seemed to be really happy and really taken with him, and he of her as well.
You know I'm in love with you, right?
I didn't want to be the first one to say it.
The things that she wanted in life were security and stability, things that were missing.
And with a little encouragement from Chad, Jo makes peace with her daughter.
She texted me, "Hey, I really want you to meet my boyfriend Chad. He's really important to me."
Well, it's great to finally meet you, Savannah. Your mom talks about you nonstop.
Obviously, you're important to her too.
When I first met Chad, I tried to be very accepting because if my mom loves somebody, I tried to give them a chance and I tried to love them.
I would have had you over for dinner, but it's a bit of a squeeze in the camper, you know? Why didn't we just go to Chad's?
But right off the bat, something strikes Savannah as odd.
Apparently, some of his roommates don't like visitors.
Okay, just one roommate, Pete. He's a bit of a but if you don't shut up about it, I'm gonna start to think you're a bit of a too.
It was like 1 minute he was like a really, really happy guy and he was really kind, and the next minute he was like very mean and rude and like vindictive.
Hey, Mom, have you never been to his place? Hey, let's have dessert, yeah?
Yeah.
Excuse me, could we get the dessert menu, please?
I could see my mom like covering up from a lot.
I'm so happy to see you.
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell see two free spirits who are also a little lost.
When I look at Jo and Chad's relationship, it's almost like Jo is looking for a hero, somebody who can come make her life a little bit better because things are tough. And it looks like Chad could be the kind of guy that could be that. I am concerned about the fact that Jo isn't able to go to Chad's house.
I think any woman ought to be concerned when a guy does not want her to come and see where he lives. And the fact that Jo seems to be making excuses or trying to just rationalize or dismiss it away suggests to me that Jo is feeling kind of a strong pull to make this work.
I always tell people it is a red flag if people are not sharing their home and their friends. And so Whatever it is going on with Pete and the house, I think that Joe needs to find out.
Can't wait to see you. What the? I don't get why I haven't even met the guy.
I know that she had said to him, when do I get to meet Pete and when do I get to see your place? And he kind of skirted the issue.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, just some with Pete.
Pete, right.
Love you. See you later.
I know that when Joe discovered the conversations in his phone, she was probably angry about it. She was pissed.
It's an anger that's about to explode.
So this is the famous Joe Ringer.
He would have been caught in his dirty little cheating lie.
She still didn't know who Joe Ringer was.
After a mere 3 months together, Joanne Ringer finds suspicious texts between her boyfriend, Chad Reedy, and someone named Pete.
Joe followed him when he left and discovered that he was living with Laura Riley.
Who is this? Is this Pete? Huh? You lied to me. Pete is Laura, right?
You were saying you were hanging out with Pete when Pete was really Laura.
I thought you were hiding you were gay.
I'm not gay.
Well, clearly you're not. You've been hanging out with some other woman.
I can explain, all right?
He came clean at that time and told her that he was in a relationship.
It's over. It's been over for ages. It's just complicated with our history.
History?
And the kids.
What? You have kids?
No, she does.
How serious is it?
A couple years back, we had a commitment ceremony.
Are you freaking kidding me?
It's over, okay? I don't love her anymore. I love you.
Chad and Laura started seeing each other in high school, and it seemed to be sort of a long-term, on-again, off-again situation.
It wasn't like a real wedding, but they made vows to each other anyways.
Your text didn't sound like friends.
He was like, I don't care about her. I only care about you. Like, I'm only there because I need to get my stuff from there, or I have nowhere else to go.
Let me spell it out for you. It's her or me.
Either you want it or you don't. Get out if you don't.
And it didn't take very long for him to tell her that he was leaving Laura Riley.
It was like he tricked her into forgiving him right away.
Joe now knows that Chad is living with Laura, and yet she doesn't leave him. Instead, she gives him an ultimatum. And I think she's deluding herself. If he just leaves her, we can go off into the sunset living happily ever after. It's almost like she's invested in the potential of what they could be instead of the reality of what is taking place in their relationship, which is there's currently a foundation of lies and deception.
This is some pretty profound dishonesty here. And you would think that a lot of people in Joe's situation would be feeling very deceived, very used, very upset, and would think, okay, this is done today, but she doesn't. She wants to believe it. And that desire that Joe is showing to want to believe more dishonesty on top of dishonesty she knows has happened worries me.
Chad? Chad!
Laura was out of the house and had no indication that Chad was planning on leaving, apparently. And while she was gone, he had moved his things out and just left.
From what I can gather, she did not take it well.
She was deeply upset. They'd been together for years at that point. She still didn't know who Joe Ringer was.
Joe and Chad decide to get a house together, more than an hour out of town.
Where they moved to in the Berkshires is actually, it's, I don't want to say desolate, but if you're into hiking and things of that nature, it's a pretty good area.
He got a USDA loan, and she used her savings as a down payment.
It was this cute little like country bumpkin house. It was like you were walking into your grandma's house from the South, but you were in Massachusetts.
Careful, push with your legs, babe.
My mom always kind of wanted to live off the land.
It's good.
If I had to guess, another reason that they moved so far away would be to try to get farther away from Laura.
The house that my mom and Chad actually ended up moving into was supposed to be Chad and Laura's house.
Joe didn't want Laura Riley in the picture at all.
But avoiding Laura isn't that easy.
My mom and Chad had gone to a Mexican restaurant, and Laura was there.
Laura went to that restaurant because it was her son's birthday.
They hadn't even noticed Laura yet, but Laura noticed them.
So this is the famous Joe Ringer. Let me guess, you're Laura?
You have a lot of nerve coming here on my son's birthday.
I forgot.
And she came up to my mom and Chad, and she was like, "You guys should leave because you're really upsetting my son."
I'm sorry, I'll go. I didn't know.
You're a whore, Joe Ringer.
Laura ended up telling her like she was a crappy person for stealing Chad. She basically threatened to slit her throat.
The idea that she confronted Joe or was hostile towards her is just not true. That didn't happen.
It just got really bad from there.
I'm not convinced that he did choose Joe over Laura.
Chad, call me back.
Joe Ringer and Chad Reedy move more than an hour away from their friends and families, and away from Chad's ex, Laura. But for Joe, life in the new house is lonely.
It's a good hour travel to come down into East Hampton. That was the one thing that she always complained to me about, was just that she was farther away from her friends.
She felt like she was trapped financially and physically up there.
Especially since Joe isn't working anymore.
So when my mom met Chad, she was going to a lot of gigs, dressing up, taking pictures. That didn't last long once they met, though. He was quick to put an end to that. I think Chad was always jealous.
Restless and broke, Jo takes things into her own hands.
Her phone was shut off because she couldn't pay the bill.
Chad was not willing to help her out financially so that she could get her phone turned back on. And I know she was very aggravated and frustrated with the idea that she didn't have a job and didn't have her own income.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm ready to work.
Finally, Jo gets a break.
She got a bartending job at a bowling alley by the house, and she was really excited about it.
But the excitement doesn't last.
He'd go watch her work. He would go in and sit at the bar and yell at her.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm working.
You're not working. You're flirting with every guy in here.
Her boss did not like the fact that Chad was always there and Chad was always starting issues.
Just leave before I get fired, all right?
So they had to let her go. I know that it was upsetting to lose the job for her because my mom loved to make her own money. She hated asking for things. She was always extremely independent.
Despite the tension, Joe and Chad decide to go all in on their relationship.
It was like out of the blue. She had texted me and said, Chad bought me a ring and we're getting married and it would be really important to me if you could come. I think Chad wanted to capture her before she could leave. We went to a town hall in Vermont. It was kind of unsettling for me how fast it went, but I tried to be really supportive because if she was happy for once, then I was happy for her.
So they'd only been together for 7 months, I think it is, when 8 months, when they decided to get married.
Yes.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
When I found out that they were in a serious relationship was when I found out they were married. That's how fast everything happened. I thought she was making a hasty decision.
Laura didn't understand why Chad would marry Joe.
Chad, call me back.
Everything Laura wanted, he gave to my mom.
Joe and Chad's relationship is rocky, and I think she's trying to convince him that she loves him and that she's committed so that she can live her life a little bit. He's really controlling her. She can't keep a job. She doesn't have access to her friends, and so maybe she thinks this will free things up.
I think she has a feeling that something is wrong, and it has to do with the fact that Chad seems very jealous, which means he's very insecure, that she gets attention from other people, and he's worried that her head will be turned and he'll lose her. And so it looks to me like she might think if she commits in a marriage, that will fix this. That will reassure him that she's not going anywhere, and no matter who else looks at her, they're not gonna turn her head. And it concerns me greatly because anytime somebody thinks that marriage is a fix to a problem, that's not what it's supposed to be.
Instead of reassuring Chad, getting married sends him on a dangerous and sudden spiral.
Chad? Chad? Oh my God, Chad? Chad? Hey, we got it. Dad!
He was trying to commit suicide.
Messing up my plans, Joe. Oh, I'll kill you, and then I'll kill myself.
No!
He picked her up by her throat and he put her against the wall, and he choked her until she passed out. I think that was kind of the beginning of the end.
And there's no coming back.
I was gonna hurt him.
I love you. They both were playing along like puppets on a string.
Chad Reedy tries to commit suicide less than 2 weeks after he marries Joe Ringer.
She left that same night. She packed her stuff, enough clothes for a couple of nights, and she left to go to her friend Eric's.
Eric?
Are you okay?
I was trying to help Chad.
She came running to me. I tried to leave because I was gonna hurt him, and she wouldn't let me go. It was the first time I had ever seen her unhappy in a very long time.
As Joe leans on Eric, Chad falls back on Laura.
They had decades of memories and experiences together, so when he was in those really dark places, Laura just had the ability to be a caring, familiar, loving, friendly face that could sometimes pull him out of it.
I just keep messing everything up. I think I'm going crazy.
You'll be okay.
He always ran to her when things were falling apart because he knew that she would just not ask questions and take him back.
Sometimes I kind of wish that you were living here with me, like we used to talk about.
Chad was intentionally manipulating both Laura and Joe, and they both were playing along like puppets on a string.
Chad.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. I kept blacking out. I can't remember anything.
It's okay. We'll figure this out. Maybe you could get some help. You could see someone, a therapist.
I think after 3 days of him apologizing and saying he was sorry and saying that he didn't know what he was doing and he had blacked out and couldn't remember how he acted, that she just caved and went back.
I'm not convinced of the sincerity of Chad's suicide attempt at this point, because it really seems to me like this whole manipulative thing that's designed to make Joe feel responsible for the distress that Chad is feeling in his life, and another way of sort of getting her to be isolated, controlled by him, feeling like she owes him and she needs to bend over backwards now to placate him.
What's interesting about this point of Chad and Joe's relationship is she takes the very first stand we've seen her take in the entire time that we've known her. And she leaves for a period of time. And so this is the moment where I begin to feel hope for her. And now she goes back. She's manipulated. She's lured back in. And I am beginning to wonder at this point if Chad is worrying about losing her, because this, like I said, is the first time that she's pulled away. And so now his whole thing about, I don't remember, I don't know what I did, I barely remember the event, is all ways of having her erase the very incident that is the one thing that she left for.
I think, unfortunately, an escape hatch presented itself to Joe, and she didn't see the need to jump on it.
Things only get worse.
She wanted to get out on her own terms because she didn't want to lose everything. She invested everything she had into that place.
And Eric again comes to her rescue.
Eric. I just picked it up.
I'd gotten her the job with the taxi company down in East Hampton.
I may end up lonely and divorced, but at least I won't be with him. But enough about that. Hey, listen, my phone is still cut off. Can I please borrow your GPS?
Yes.
And then we talked about borrowing my GPS for the next day and when she was going to pick it up.
I'll bring it in tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks.
And Joe, don't worry about being alone.
That's when I confessed to Joe my feelings for her. She was a beautiful woman and phenomenal. And, you know, that I always loved her and I would. And if, you know, that she didn't have to worry about ever being alone.
I love you.
She'd always kiss me on the cheek, but this time she told me she loved me and she kissed me on the lips and she left.
But she never comes back.
I didn't really think too much of it because I figured that someone else probably gave her one.
Joe doesn't show up for her 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. taxi shift either.
Yeah, I'm calling about my wife, Joe Ringer.
The owner of the cab company said, you know, you hire people sometimes and they don't show up. So,
okay.
From the cab company's perspective, it didn't seem to be anything too suspicious at first that she didn't arrive for that first shift.
Officer, thanks for coming.
Heard about a missing person? Joanne Ringer?
Yeah.
When did you last see her?
2 days ago. I guess it would have been March 2nd. We ate together and then she went to her friend Eric's. I'd really rather you didn't borrow it from Eric, but okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Why did you wait so long to call us?
Well, I wasn't expecting her back until yesterday, and I thought I had to wait like 24 hours to call the police or something.
Is there any reason she may have left? Like an argument or something?
No, we got along like peas and carrots. I can't think of anyone who would have wanted to hurt her. Her car's gone. I don't know where it is.
He kept telling police his biggest fear was that she'd gotten into some kind of a car accident.
Later that day, Chad is brought in for an official interview.
Like I told you, I haven't seen Joe since Thursday. I've been looking for her everywhere. I went to Hatfield to visit this oak tree up by the tree farm. I'm a pagan, so the woods are sort of like my church. I wandered around maybe wondering if she was with another guy.
But Joe seems to have vanished, and so the search for her begins.
When she went missing, it was quick that everyone got together. We hung up flyers everywhere. We gave flyers to everybody. We walked through woods. I drove everywhere.
There were missing posters for Joe everywhere. Bumper stickers, hashtag campaigns. I think it was really remarkable to see that kind of outpouring of support.
Finally, a clue. Joe's car is found abandoned in East Hampton, 1 block behind Eric's house.
My mom was a cigarette smoker. There was a full 2 bags of tobacco in there and a bag of tubes. I think her wallet, her bag was in there. Her makeup was in there. Everything was in the car.
Foul play is suspected.
There was an allegation of a threat of violence from Laura to Joe.
Chad seemed to truly believe that his wife had disappeared.
Police find Joe Ringer's car abandoned 4 days after she goes missing. And since her car was found 1 block from her friend Eric's place, the police are keen to speak to him.
Chad's statement to the police was they had breakfast or something in the morning, and then she was supposed to meet me for the GPS and start her shift that day at 6 at night.
I'm telling you, she never showed. You can check that.
Eric's statement checks out.
I went to work at 10 o'clock that morning, and then when I got out of work at 6, there was somebody with me all the time. Instantly, I knew I was being set up.
Would she leave town for any reason?
No, she doesn't have much money.
Is there anyone who would want to hurt her?
No.
Police also question Chad's ex, Laura.
We had words, but that's the only time I ever saw or met her.
There was an allegation of a threat of violence from Laura to Joe.
She basically threatened to slit her throat.
Laura didn't deny that that a threat was made.
So Chad called me from Northampton, and I went to meet him. Then we drove up to his place in Clarksburg.
In your car?
No, separately. We drove up in 2 cars.
Chad is the lead suspect.
He didn't have anything to do with this. Chad is devastated.
And police believe Laura knows more than she's letting on. But they can't prove anything.
They can't move forward with the investigation unless they can prove that Chad is somehow responsible and is lying to them about where he was and what he was doing at that time. And she was essentially alibying him and making it harder for them to get to that point.
Police step up the pressure.
I keep telling you, I just went to pick up a check, and then my car broke down in Northampton.
What's your relationship with Laura?
It's platonic.
It was an early morning. It was April 7th, and it was a little over a month after my mom had gone missing.
Chad's mother asked police to do a wellness check on him. And they found him in the garage where he had died of an apparent suicide from carbon monoxide poisoning. Everything obviously changed when Chad died.
Even with Chad's death, the investigation continues. But now the focus is on Laura.
And at that point, they had gathered information that showed them that Laura and Chad actually took 1 car up to Clarksburg when previously Laura said that they had taken 2.
Could that be because Chad was dropping off Joe's car and had no way to get home?
Okay. So his car didn't break down.
If he didn't have his car, how did he get to Northampton?
I have no idea. I didn't ask him, and he didn't say.
Joe's car was driven to East Hampton and left behind Eric's house, and then Chad Reedy was seen on video just moments later walking the bike trail from East Hampton to Northampton.
It's a hike, but you could probably do it in less than an hour.
On April 20th, 2017, Laura Riley is arrested for misleading police. But she insists she has no idea what happened to Joe.
In every interaction Laura had with Chad was distraught, and Chad seemed to truly believe that his wife had disappeared.
The extent of the tragedy becomes clear nearly 1 year later.
Her remains were found in the woods in Hatfield, Massachusetts.
I went to Hatfield to visit this oak tree.
My mom's body was found by a hunter, and then the next day they confirmed that it was her.
When her body was found, it had been too long for them to really determine cause of death.
It was particularly really, really hard because she was terrified of decomposing, and she was terrified of being eaten and by bugs or anything like that. So to find out that that's exactly what happened to her was the hardest part.
It seems that Chad could have killed Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you going somewhere? Hey! Are you cheating on me?
Who are you calling me a cheater?
I'm serious, Joe. What's going on with you and Eric?
I'm just borrowing his GPS. Besides, he loves me. And he's not crazy like you. He didn't try to kill me. So as soon as I get some money, I'm out of here.
Oh, no, you're not. You're not going to work. You're not going to see Eric, and you are not leaving.
I think that Chad probably was strangling her. I think it got to be too much for him to handle, and he couldn't take it anymore.
No one can be sure what happened, but since no blood was found in the house, it's a plausible theory.
I believe that Chad went into a panic and that he thought, what did I just do? I just killed my wife. I have to cover it up. I have to do something. I can't go to jail.
Then Chad might have disposed of her body using her own car.
I don't think anybody killed her other than Chad, but I do think that other people could have possibly been involved.
And then he might have dumped the car near Eric's place.
He wanted people to think that she saw Eric and never made it to work.
Then it looks like Chad walked to Northampton.
And I think that he called Laura. I don't think he told her what happened. I think he said something happened and he needed her help.
It's very important for the community to know that Laura Riley had nothing to do with the disappearance of Joe Ringer.
While we can't say for certain that Chad was the killer because he ended up committing suicide, it certainly looks like it was him. First of all, he doesn't have regard for other people's feelings. He's incredibly controlling and abusive. Secondly, it looks as if the timing of her death is suspicious, because just as Joe was beginning to get a backbone and possibly beginning to plan to leave him was right about the time that she died.
If Chad didn't kill Joe, I can't imagine what else happened. It's tough for me to imagine anything other than the following: Chad deciding that he wanted to go back with Laura, Chad murdering Joe, and committing suicide when he thought that it was inevitable that he would be caught and sent to prison.
In March 2019, Laura Riley is sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison for misleading police.
Basically, she lied for him. How much Laura actually knew about what happened, again, is up for debate.
If she would have been honest from the beginning, they might have been able to arrest Chad and put him in jail before he was able to kill himself. Part of me is happy that he's not here anymore, but I wish that he was still alive so that he would be in jail and he'd be suffering consequences.
I beat myself up for a long time, blame myself for things that were said. We'll never know because he took the coward's way out. But just like to cherish the memories we had, times we spent together. There's not one thing that I don't miss about her.
I feel like the way that everything played out does no justice for my friend or her family.